Hi everybody, we're back in the studio and we are going to paint a scarecrow today. We're going to start out, I'll give you the colors that we have here. Okay, we have burnt sienna, burnt umber, cat orange, oxide green. We have phthalo blue. We have, let's see, that's cad red dark. We have violet, and we have yellow ochre, also white and black. That is our palette for today, and I'll have that listed below. What we're going to do is start out with the background today, and we are going to mix a little Mars black with some oxide green, and we're going to start with the sky. I'm going to use a flat brush. I think this one will be good. It's a, well, of course there's no marking on there. It looks sort of like a Filbert, but it's not. It's more flat. It's just been worn out. And this is what we're going to start with. I'm using a bristle brush because it'll get into the areas that I need it to get into. So let's mix a little bit of the Mars black, and I have my mixing area here with some of the oxide green. I'm going to put a little bit more out on my palette because I'm going to need more of that for this background. Our canvas today is a 16 by 20. I normally use that size. I'd like to go a little smaller once in a while, but for now we're just going to go with the 16 by 20. Okay, so we want it sort of like a greenish, blackish color. It's kind of grayed down, and I can show you that. This is how we're going to look. Okay, and I'm going to mix it, and I'm going to put it on both sides of my brush. And we're just going to start on the top. Just get that worked in there. Work it in. Make sure all your white spots are covered. Keep on going here. We're going to do about a fourth of it, a fourth way down. Kind of curve this if you can. And don't forget your sides and top. Just right that up, and hopefully my bat won't fall off. Keep me company for today. Get the top. If you're using this type of canvas, if you're using a flat panel, you still want to get those edges, but with the stretch canvas, I always like to do this. Alright, additional Mars black to the brush. Okay, so we're going to add some, as we do this, we're going to add some more black to it. Kind of just moving it along here because you want some of those streaks of black to show. Also, just move it along. Kind of get some of that in there. So it's unseasonably warm here in Pittsburgh. It's pretty warm today. A little humid, a little overcast. I guess we're getting some more of that hurricane weather. So I'm hoping to do a few more of these Halloween scenes. for you for this time of year, fall. And I've been suffering a little bit with some hand issues, and it's been a little difficult for me to paint, and I'm really in misery today. But you know what? Sometimes you just need to escape into your painting and forget about some of the things that are going on. So that is what I'm doing now. We've had so much tragedy in the last few weeks that just need to kind of forget some of those things. Hi. Hope my head isn't in the way too much here today. I kind of moved things around a little bit. I was trying to straighten this place up. I'm getting ready for a craft show, so I have a ton of paintings sitting behind me. My art room looks like a disaster. I also bought some wood for shelves to put my canvases on, and I'm just hoping I can get some of that done. So now what we're going to do is mix a little bit of phthalo blue in the center of the sky right in here. We want to add some more of that black. Here, I'm going to just put some of that in through here, kind of like a segue into that. This is a dark and luminous sky here. Oops, there goes my dog choking. I don't know what's going on there. I think she just had some water. Sometimes she drinks water and she starts to choke, and I don't understand it, but there you go. So we got some of that black in, kind of like transitioning just lightly into our green. I'll just put some more of that in here. All right. Now get some of the phthalo blue. We're going to put it in the center. We're going to add a little bit of Morris black and violet, and then we're going to add some titanium white, and that'll kind of lighten things up a bit. So I'm going to rinse out my brush because I don't want to contaminate that blue too much, but and I don't want to have that green in that part of it either. Actually, I think I'm going to get another brush because that one's just not doing it for me. So I am getting a number 12 flat bright of Simply Simmons, going into my phthalo blue, just putting it in the center here. Just like that. And I'm going to get some of my violet, and I'm not going to rinse out my brush. I'm just going to pull it out, put some onto the side here. Kind of makes it real pretty, like a pretty, you know how in the evening it gets a little bit of purpley in the sky, and then of course you have this green coming in. That's kind of making it look ominous, kind of an ominous color. Now we're going to go into some white, titanium white. I'm not using any glazing liquid today. I'm just almost mixing these colors on canvas. But I do want some of that white to go up into that blue. So you're just going to play with that till, you know, you see what you like. Kind of like blend it in, blend it up. I really like that purple in there. That looks really cool. I'm going to get some more of that violet. Kind of streak some of that in here. I have a drawing that I made myself, and I'm going to test this out before I teach it, of a witch. I think that'll be fun to do for Halloween. I'm going to think of a couple other things too, but if you'd like to see something from me, please put that in the comments below. I love to hear from you. I have one lady that has been sending me some emails and doing some work, and I kind of like to see what you're doing, even if you're doing somebody else's work. I mean, I know there's a couple of great artists on here that I actually follow myself, and you know, they do a lot of great things, and it's always kind of nice to see what you're doing. If you have any questions, if you need something explained, if it doesn't come across too clearly here, just let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Love for you to subscribe. I'd love for you to share. It's all fun. It's all fun. I'm going to stick a little bit of green in here, just over here a little bit, and it's just the straight oxide green. I'm not mixing it with anything. We're just kind of coming through here, getting some of that color through the sky. And what I'm doing is kind of making it oval. I just want to do that. It kind of looks neat that way, don't you think? I think it looks pretty cool. I'm going to go back up in here and see some of these areas that I want to make it a little lighter in some spots. Some of the canvas didn't get covered, so I'm just kind of doing that now. Getting some of that black more blended in to this. Want it to blend nicely. Oh, it's coming along beautifully, I think. The colors are blending pretty well, considering it's a hotter day, and I'm thinking that this is going to dry quick. And it seems to be working out pretty good. Get some of that violet. I love that color. It's really looking great. Now what I did is a little something different today. Instead of using the glazing liquid, I put some paper towels in here and I wet them. And I have one of those stay wet palettes. Because of the heat, sometimes it does dry quicker. And this is kind of helping me to keep things moist and moving very well. If you ever watch Jerry Arnell, he uses his palette the same way. He puts those paper towels in there, dampens them. I think he has a stay wet palette. That's what it looks like to me. And it does help a lot. It really makes that look nice. Okay, I want to get more of that green in there. It's kind of coming in. Get some more of that white. It's kind of graying out a little bit, but I don't want it totally white. I want some of that color to shine through here. And you're kind of seeing some of these blend, which I'm liking. Ooh, I like that streak. That looks cool. Get some of that stuff to happen. You know, just a light tapping in there. Kind of just blends it in. Brings some of those other colors together. Just a little bit whiter through here, because this is kind of where I'm going to put my Scarecrow, but I'm planning on putting some additional figures in here as well. I would like to get some ghosts in here. Ooh. Make it really shaky, scary. Okay, I've got to get my sides. Never forget your sides. That's so important. I have a few paintings sitting over here that I didn't get, like the bottoms. So there's my head, sorry. I hope my hair's not a mess in the back. So, I like to hear what everybody's doing, what everybody's working on. If you're having any problems with my paintings, I'd like to know, because one of the things I can correct, you know, if it's not coming across to you. But the nice thing about YouTube is that you can stop it and move, you know, do your section and then come back to it, which is kind of cool. I mean, you can't ask for a better situation on YouTube. Usually on those TV shows, you know, like if you're watching a Bob Ross, well, he has a YouTube too, but if you're watching something like that, you can't stop it. You know, this way, unless you're DVDing it, or DVRing it, I should say, this way you can stop it. YouTube makes it very convenient for artists to teach. And I love teaching. And I enjoy giving free lessons to you. Because you got to learn from others. You know, there's so many great artists on here, but everybody has a different technique. And that's what makes it more special. Now, I'm trying to get this like a little mound here, so I have to come down like this and around. So that's what I'm going to try to get that. A little bit of this blue, just to kind of move it along here. And you see how nice that is blending. It's blending, and you have to make sure it blends well. You want it to blend well. This blue is going to segue into a dark spot. So, I want it to be nice and dark. Add a little water to my blue there. It's starting to get a little dry. You can tell when it's getting dry and it's starting to make those little dry patches. We're not dry brushing this, so we have to make sure that it's nice and clean. Nice and clean. Okay, so I'm going to go into my black. I'm not washing out my brush. I'm just going to go into my black and paint this section here. It's just a big half circle. And that's where a Scarecrow is going to sit. Right on this nice black mound. Get this filled in with black, Mars black. No mixture at all, just what's on our brush. Here, nice and clean. Nice and clean. Nice and clean. And maybe just bring it to there. Alright, so our background is done. We're going to wait for this to dry, and we'll come back in a few. Okay, I am going to come down a little bit more here. I think I have this a little too high, so I'm going back into my blue, my phthalo blue, and I'm just using my brush here, this one, that bristle brush. I think it's a number 12, and I'm just going to cut it down some. Like that. And add some more of that blue. And right now it looks black, it's very dark, but I'm going to add a little white to this while it's still wet. Oops, a little too much white, but that's okay. We'll get it back to where we're supposed to be. Just blends in with that. There we go. And I think what I want to do is just add a little bit more. I'm going to rinse out my brush. Get a little bit more white in the middle here. I think I need a little bit lighter colors. And I'm just getting a lot of that blue out. I'm still using that bristle brush. And I do have blue in here, but you know what? When it's on here, it goes white. So we're just kind of like blending this in, kind of rounding it. Blend it with that. Go back into, I hope my head's not in the way too much. And then, okay, because it's a little streaky there, we're going to add some of that purple. Just kind of like get some of that in there also. Blend that into the blue. Add a little water to my brush. It's a little dry. I just like to blend it. There we go. Blend that into this. Well, it's actually some of the bluish white. Let's get some more of that. Just kind of, I would like to get a little bit more into this here. Right in through here. And I'm just lightly hitting the canvas. I'm not pressing hard. I just want this to actually, you're trying to just blend, so you don't want to be pressing too hard. So that all blends in together. Add a little water to my brush so it blends a little bit better. Get a little green. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so I'm going to get my hair dryer and I'm going to dry this and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so we're all dried up. I'm going to show you how I do the tracing. We're going to trace an image on here, and I'll have that image link below. I usually have it on a website or I have it on Pinterest. So I have black tracing paper, and you always put the shiny side down. And I have my tape. I use this frog tape. For some reason I like it better, especially if you're doing any line work. It kind of helps from leaking through most of the time. It's not perfect, but it does do what I need it to do. Alright, so I line it up with my top. It fits perfectly. And then I just tack one down. Then I get my image. That I'm going to transfer. Line it up with the canvas. Making sure everything is lined up fairly well. Okay, and then, oh, well, I guess I should have got my tape first, but this sort of comes off of the paper pretty easily too. And I really like it. so it doesn't rip my paper, doesn't rip my image that I'm going to transfer and things like that. So now there's several ways you can transfer this. You can use a pencil, you could use a pen, or I use a stylus, and I think I have one right here close by. This is a stylus. It has like two points on it. This one has a little bit of a bead, if you can see that. I don't know. It has a little bead on top. This one doesn't, so I don't kind of like using that. I'd rather use the one with the bead so it doesn't rip my paper. And I start from the top, so I may have to stand for this. And you're just carefully going, I start from the top so I can remember where I've traced. And you just trace the whole image. So what I'm going to do, I will speed this up definitely, but at least you have an idea of what occurs here whenever you're tracing. And you try to stay on those lines as the best that you can, you know. It doesn't matter if it's off a little bit. So I'm going to speed this up and we'll see you after it's all traced. Oh, I'm sorry, my whole body is in there. So let's go to the side here. Apologize. All right, we got it on there. That's good. Okay, so we'll just take off our tracing, but before that I want to have a little sip and just tell you some of the things that we're going to be doing. Of course, we're going to be getting ready for the holidays, so I may have some holiday paintings up soon. We're going to keep the theme though for this month, just kind of like Halloween kind of themes and things like that. I think it's fun to kind of go into the holiday and do some of these paintings. I can find my end here. The nice thing about the frog tape, it doesn't rip off any of your work that you've done. Just have to be careful when you pull it off that you don't rip anything. And I'm just going to turn this over for now and take it off later. Fold up my pattern, and like I said, this pattern will be underneath here with all the supplies that I'm using. Let's see how everything works out. Works out pretty nice. You especially do not want to rip your tracing paper. There we go. Put that right there. Fold this up a bit. Alright, so there we go. So we have the image on here. So let's see what our next step will be. We are going to, actually we're going to like fill in some of these raggedy edges here with some burnt umber, and we want to thin it with a little bit of water. So I'm going to get a bright. This is a number 8 bright. Not bright. Yeah, no, this isn't a bright. I'm sorry. Ugh. Let's see. I want a bright. And we had that before. I think this was our number 12 bright. So that's the one we're going to use. This is a Filbert, I'm sorry. So we want this number 12 bright. We're going to thin out some of our umber. So I'm going to spray it a little bit and pull it out from my palette and just kind of work it a little bit here to get a little bit of, like we want it kind of wet. And we're going to paint some of these edges here with that. So it's just lightly we're going in, and it does not have to be in the lines, although I do like it a little neater than that, so I may use a smaller one here. Okay, this is a number 12 also. So each industry or each manufacturer kind of does it their own way. So it just, I think, will be easier to get those little areas that we want. This will probably go a long way. Being thinned out, it's sort of like a watercolor. Just be very careful, take your time. No need to rush on this part. Get some of it in here. Sorry if my head's in the way. Hopefully it's not too much in the way. Yeah, like that. And here we go. It kind of gives it an eerie look, doesn't it? The wind sweeping it across like this. Let's get to a better point here. I'm going to wet my brush a little bit. Get a little bit thin and get to a point here. I want some of this to just kind of come out and here. These things going here. Okay. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use Mars Black, and we're going to paint the rest of him in here. So we're going to get the black on our brush. I'm not even going to rinse that. I'm just going to use the same brush. And we're going to fill him in. With our black. Because he's a silhouette, basically. Except for his pumpkin head. Okay, I'm going to adjust my camera so that you can see most of my painting. So if you just hold on 1 second, I'm going to do that. Okay. So we'll just adjust. I think that I won't be in there too much now. I think I need a paper towel here. Alright, because we don't want this too watery. We're just going to go into some of that areas, but we want to leave some of that brown showing too, so you have to be careful not to cover it all up. hardest part is staying in the lines. You want to stay in the best that you can, and yet not cover up everything. You know, you don't want to cover everything up. I need a little bit in this one area here with some brown. So I'm just going to use a round brush here just to fill this in here. And also here, because that should be pretty well colored in. Okay. So since everything's flowing this way, I'm going to start my brushwork going in the same direction. You want to kind of keep that flow. And we're probably going to need a second coat on here. We'll see how it dries up. I kind of wet these so that they don't get dry here in the studio. It's kind of hot, and for October, isn't it kind of weird that it's still hot? Huh? You know, definitely something's happening with the climate. Okay, let's see here now. Yeah, you always go in the direction when you're painting of something that is flowing in the wind, or it gives it a little bit better, excuse me, looks more like it's flowing naturally. Even if it's a silhouette, you kind of just want to keep that flow. Going. Okay, and this little stick that he's on, we want to paint that black. We're going to do all our silhouette work right now. Our black cats. Get those painted in. Kind of just have it go into the dark here. They're actually sitting in this darkness, so you're not going to be able to tell actually where they're at. We'll do the whiskers with a fine detail brush. definitely want to get another coat on here. Yeah, he's starting to look a little scary, isn't he? Be careful, just do it very, very, very slow. So you get all the little areas, but you don't want to go outside them. So this is a very nice brush. I'm kind of almost drawing this in with my brush. I'm not painting it in. When you paint it, you're back a little further on the handle. But I want to make sure I stay within the lines here that I traced. Hopefully I'm not in the way too much. Kind of go fast with that part because you just want to like not think about it too much. So I'm just going to twist my brush over to make the tail. I'm going to move this over so I can get this little cat over here. Okay, I'm going to blend that in with the rest of the black paint that I have on here. Let me get the top head part of his head. So if you have time, just give me an email and tell me some of the things you'd like to see me paint, because I need some ideas that that you would enjoy seeing me painting. I have a couple that someone sent me. Would like to see me paint a dog, and also like a monotone type painting, which is just one color with shading. I think some of the other artists have done this, and I really feel that I might be stepping on their toes if I do something like that, but I would do a dog. I'd be open for that, and I could do a monotone. I mean, it's just finding the right picture that would show the different shade values and different values of the painting. Okay, let's get some of the black in here. Go over some of these things here. Okay, how's that look? Pretty good so far. Pretty good. Excuse me. You kind of have to excuse me. I apologize for that, my hoarse voice. just put some of these little details. I have a little detail brush. Unfortunately, I don't know what size it is because, as you can see, it's pretty worn out. I've had it for a while. But I would think it's a number 2 or a number 1 detail brush. And I just roll that in my paint. It's kind of wet, my paint. I'm just trying to get these little lines. Might add some more of the brown into this also, just to cover up some of those little tracing lines that we have here. Okay, and I'm going to put the whiskers on these little cats with my detail brush, doing that ear a little bit better. The areas that I kind of missed here. Little whiskers, just lightly go on them. Okay, now let's see if I can get some brown on my brush. I'm going to rinse that out. Get more of that brown on my palette. Just kind of darken some of these up. I want it to look a little darker. Have it flowing from out of that. Instead of, like, you know, it's alright to see through it, I guess, but you know, we'll make that a little less, not as dark. It's just kind of like wanting you to put that in there, so I'm wanting you to put that in there so it looks a little less. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Sometimes when I talk too much, I have issues. So I'm just going over some of these light brown areas, or these brown burnt umber areas, because I think some of this is just a little too light for me to appreciate it. Get some of that off of there. Some water and just kind of like rub it in here. Wipe it off. This way I can put it right up against the black too, and it shows a little bit better. Okay, so we've got him put in. Now we're going to move up, get some of this area in. We're going to paint our pumpkin. We want to make his face, so that'll be our next step here. Oh, sorry. Let me sit back on my chair. So that's going to be the orange. I think I want a nice small brush for that. I think I'm going to use my Filbert here, number 4, if you can see that. let's paint his head in. Now you want to be careful, kind of like to keep away from those areas there. We can always put the pumpkin lines back in. But try to keep his areas of glow. And again, you're going to keep this moving in the direction of the pumpkin. So don't go cross. Put your line, your paint lines to come around. And as I get closer to the areas, of course, this is going to be a little different because I'm trying not to go onto his eyes. But everything else will be kind of the way I want it here. Paint in the same direction. Like, you want to keep those lines together that way. Okay. I'm going to get a small detail brush to go in and around his mouth and things like that, because I really do not want to destroy that line. This brush may be too big for that. So I'm going back into my little round brush here. I'm going to pick up some of that orange, cat orange. And just kind of go very carefully around his mouth. And his nose. We want to make sure we don't go into his little nose. His scary little nose. Okay, now, I noticed too, we need to get closer around his pumpkin head. So I'm going to get my little brush again with black. Kind of just go around here. Close. Alright, get some of those other areas here too. Probably going to have to go over that again because I really don't like the way it's drying. Some paint will cause dryness like that, and it'll dry and look like it's still wet, so I'm going to fix that eventually. Okay, so let's see here now. We want to get some of our burnt umber, and I'm gonna use this detail brush again and round the point, make it a nice little point. I am going to do the top part of his head here with that. Carefully. All right, now I just want to put in some lines also. So I'm going to get that brown, roll my brush a bit, and just put in some of those little lines that we covered up. And I'm just going to go by my own thinking here. I have to get that a little wetter here. All right, and that one come out like that. Round here. We have that one. A little bit of a crazy looking pumpkin, huh? There. Okay. And I think I want one more coming through here. I think it would be best to come through here like this. And then this one can come off like that. It's alright. Just kind of shade it up a little bit. Okay. Okay, so we're going to mix some of my yellow ochre and white, because what we're going to do now is put in the nose. And so I'm just like taking one part and a little bit of white, kind of lightening it up, and I'll show you this mixture in a second. My palette's starting to look a little crappy, isn't it? So I just mixed a little bit of the yellow ochre and some white. And I'm going to fill in the eyes now. And I'm still using that little detailed brush. I missed the spot right there with the orange, so I'm going to have to come back. Hopefully you can see I'm not too, I'll zoom this in for you when I edit it. Oh, look what I did there. Guess I have some white on my fingers. Oh wow, I just hate when I do that. But luckily with a little water you can sometimes get it off if you get it right away. Just get it right away. There we go. Okay, now the real tricky part here is going to be the mouth. So just go very slowly, very slowly. You can get around here like this. And then just fill in those little areas here that are jaggedy. Okay, now we want to get that orange in there that I missed. I don't know how I missed that, but apparently I did. Okay, let me get some more here. Little cat orange here around. Make it more complete. There we go. Ooh, I like it. I like it. I'm thinking I want to kind of like get a little bit more shading on our pumpkin here. Just kind of like bring some of that out and into the pumpkin. Kind of like instead of having him look so flat, you know, you want to kind of give him a little bit of character here. I'm just going into my umber on my brush here. Just you have some of those lines coming in to my pumpkin. Just kind of like giving him a little bit of a dimension. Don't need a flat pumpkin face. And come around here a little bit. You're kind of just glazing over it, not anything too demanding here. Get a little water into the paint. Just kind of shading him in. Okay. Ooh, he looks a little scary, doesn't he? Okay, so let's get our moon in. What we're going to do is oh, I guess I have to put a little black in here too. I'm sorry, as I'm looking at my painting. Just give it a little bit of black. We don't want a lot. Just a little bit. I'll put some of that in there too, maybe. Okay. All right, there we go. I'm going to rinse that out. So then I want to get my yellow or ochre mixture. We're going to paint the moon. So let's get him painted. Now you have your circle already on there, so it shouldn't be too hard to get. And I actually might need more mixture here. Maybe alright though. Maybe alright. And I am going to put a little more white into that mixture. And in certain places, I'm going to make this a little lighter. And I'm just tapping it in, because you know how the moon is. It has all those little dark areas, and you just want to kind of make this look sort of like the moon. So I'm just tapping it in. Almost looks like a face in there that I'm putting in there. So just tap it in with the lighter. I just added a little bit more white to that, just to kind of shadow it somewhere in some places. And you can smooth it out. But see, there's some dark spots in there, and that's what you want. You want to have some dark areas, because the moon has all those dark areas. So you just want to kind of get that in there. Okay? All right. I get a little bit more of my yellow ochre. Kind of go in there a little bit more with that. In through here a little. Okay. Even just go directly with the yellow ochre. That'll kind of shadow it up a bit. Because you want that shadowy stuff in there. Okay, how's that look? Yeah, that looks good. Okay. Looks pretty good. I'm happy with it so far. How about you guys? Do you like this so far? Let me know. Let me know. This should be a pretty easy painting for you. It's not a difficult painting. It's just a lot of time-consuming things because of the way that the garment flows and things like that. I'm going to go into my flat brush again, and I'm going to put more black in here, because as I see it's drying, it's starting to show through, and that happens sometimes with the paint. You'll start to see things that'll show through, and you want to kind of cover that up, because you don't want that to show through. Just be careful not to do it when it's wet, because you don't want it to lift off. There. Awesome. Okay. So we got the moon. All right. So okay, so I'm going to pick up just a little bit of the Moore's black, just a tad. And my brush is kind of wet here, but we still want this shadow. We want a bigger shadow here, so I'm going to just like put that in there like that with my flat. Or my bright, it's probably bright here, but we want that dark over there. Okay. Now we're going to put the trees in, and we are going to put in some gray. Get some white with a little bit of my gray mixture with my bright. And I'm going to put this little papery thing that comes across. And it's going to come across the moon. Oh. These are like clouds, so we want our clouds to come through here. And I want this to be out like that. And you just kind of wiggle them. They're sort of like I said, these are clouds that are coming across the moon. And we can put a few in here. Just a few. We don't want to overdo it. Now, let's put in some of our, well, let me get my little detail brush, and I'm going to go straight into the white. Straight into my titanium white. And I'm just going to add a little glisten on top of some of these. Just a little glisten. Put some more even on this. Just here and there. Like where the little bumps come up. A little bump here. A little thing on here. Just kind of like giving it a little bit of a highlight. You want that little highlight there. Oh, is that ever looking cool, huh? Okay. We're going to also put a little highlight on top of my pumpkin. I'm going to use that white, titanium white, because we're getting the glow of the moon. So it's not quite rounded off enough. I want to make sure it's at a point. Maybe some on him. I have to come back out onto that. Especially on this side here. And I'll fix that a little bit. Maybe on this little cat's head here. Little glow. Okay, let me get some black. I got this shaky hand today, I guess. Boy, the things you encounter when you're an artist and you start to see some of the things that you don't realize you have. Like the shakes when you're painting. Okay. We're going to dot the sky. Well, actually, before I do that, I am going to put in the branches here. So that's strictly black. And we're using that round brush. I'm going to have to stand up for this so I can see, and hopefully I'm not in your way. I want to just kind of like draw the branches. Now we already had these in, so it shouldn't be too hard to find them. We had them with our tracing paper. And actually that's all we're going to do is just use that. Those lines that we had. Now you want to kind of make them shaky too. I mean, this is one time you can shake your hands a little, you know, because usually branches, they don't grow straight. I have yet to see a branch that is actually straight. And they have like different grooves and things like that. So if you're doing this, it's not going to hurt it. I mean, it's just kind of like cool. It's cool. It's all cool. Cool. Okay, I see something I don't like right there. So I'm going to try to get that out of there a little bit. Scrub it here. Okay, there we go. All right, now let's see here. Okay, that coming over. If you really want to shaky it up a little bit, hold your brush back further, and it'll give you that shaky line. And that's kind of what you're looking for. You don't want it, like I said, you want it to look more natural than anything. And there's some right in here. Okay, and I think I want to put another one right here. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so I wanted to add a little fun to this, and what I'm going to do, I want to put some ghosts flying around here, but the ghosts are not going to show up until you put a black light on it. So we're going to try that next. So for that, I have this. It's Glow Paint. It's Pro FX, and I got this through Amazon. And it's pretty cool. It looks white, but it will glow white, but it actually dries clear. So we're going to put a couple in here, and I probably would like to maybe draw that in a little bit, just so I know. Let me get a pencil. Hold on one second. So these I'm going to draw in actually, because I want to place them in certain places, and I didn't have it actually, we're just going to have them floating around up here. So just going to kind of draw this in with a watercolor pencil just so I can see it. Like that. And they'll have eyes, so an eye here, and I have to keep that open. So let me go into my paint, and I am going to paint around this. Now see how it goes on like clear, and it will dry clear, but when you put a black light onto it, it glows, and I think this is fun, especially for now, this time of year. And I may have to use the black light to actually see that I painted everything, because it's so clear that I don't know how my brush strokes are going either. Couple little ghosts in here. Now you could also put this on his eyes. So I'm going to try that. Put it on his eyes so his eyes will glow. Because it's clear, it'll just glow, hopefully yellow. I don't know. We'll try it and see. This is an experiment, so bear with me here. Bear with me. Oh, you see my face. Oh, look a little haggard today. All right, so let's do another one. Let's see. How about if we put one right here? We'll make this one like face. Oh, this one's going to be big. Facing forward. Put two eyes in here too. Okay. It's going to be cute. So I'm going to get my bigger brush here. I still want my detail brush for around the eyes. So I'll put those in first. And around his head. Oh, let's see here. Maybe we'll put, this is going to be a bigger one. The bigger ghost. Bigger ghost. You just kind of draw them in, just flow them. I think two of them would be fine. You know, it's up to you how many you want to put in, but I think two is good. And I'm still not happy with my lines up here, so I'm going to fix that also. Maybe just kind of go over this a little bit, and then I'll wait till that dries, and well, there, it might actually be okay now. Let me see here if I can get that better. There we go. There we go. Just a tad on this. Oops, that's too much. Too much. Too much. Okay. All right. So I think I can put my initials on this and call it done. And just, I'm going to put my initials right over here. And that is a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this painting today. It was a lot of fun for me, I know that. And happy Halloween. Oh, before I go, I guess we should see how this glows, right? Okay, hold on one second. Let me get my glow light and turn out the lights. Hold on. I don't know if you can see that, but yes, the eye is glowing. You can see the ghosts up here and over here. And sometimes after you have the light on there for a long period of time, it will show up all the little details. And there was one more thing I wanted to do, and we have to put some stars in the sky. So let's put those in. And what I usually do is I use the back of my brush. So that would be the wooden part or plastic, whatever you have. And I go into my white. I'm going to cover my glow paint. Go into my white, and I just put some little stars in here wherever, because it is a evening for this and it's eerie, and with some stars in the sky. Now this is another thing, you're not going to go overboard on this, because the more you put in sometimes the worse it looks. So you just want to have a few here and there dabbed in. And let's put one right here and a couple up in here. You know, just in different various areas, and that will make it the end. And I know I signed it with my initials, but after I thought about it, I thought, well, we got to put some stars in there. So you got your ghosts, you got your eyes that glow, and you've got this eerie little painting. So I hope you enjoyed it today, and please come back and join me again for another painting, hopefully soon. Thanks. Bye. Oh, please like and subscribe too if you can, and don't forget a comment. Comments are important. All right, thank you.